Is that working? Testicles 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's working. Excellent. Right. Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to go through. It's not really a tutorial. It's more of a here's a thing I want to do, and because I'm a programmer, I'm going to do it. There's probably an easier way of doing this, but because I'm a programmer, I must use programming to do it. So the thing is this. I have a Last.fm account. If you don't know what Last.fm is, it's like a way you can track what you listen to. I've been using it for, I don't know, like 10 years or something, so I've got quite a few tracks on there. And one thing you can do on there is you can heart a track and be like, I like this track. And then you get a list of them, and here's where you find out I have exquisite taste in music. And what you can then do is look at them and see how much you listen to them and all that sort of nonsense. But what I want to do is I want to take all of them and move them to a Spotify playlist, or put them in a Spotify playlist. And I want to make this something that I could sync up. So I could have it running on a server, on a cron job, and just keep adding tracks as I like new tracks, essentially. And the benefit of this is because I've got Spotify, I can basically have those tracks automatically downloaded to my phone. So if I'm listening elsewhere and I like something on Last.fm, then bang, it shows up on my phone. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So it's going to be pretty easy to do this. Bit of web scraping. So if we come over to Last.fm, so this is just the page for the loved tracks. Now, the few things to note here is that we've got, I'll make that a little bit bigger. It's dead easy to go through this. So we've got 28 pages of tracks, and the URL basically contains the number. So all we need to do is loop through that, giving it the page number we want. And I've had a look at the network, and there's nothing particularly interesting in terms of what it gets back. It doesn't come back nicely in JSON format or anything like that. It comes back fully rendered. So it's all in the HTML. So we've got to faff around getting all that data. So easiest way to go about doing this to begin with is to come to the network tab in Chrome, find the request. So the network tab request, right click, copy as curl, and we'll go to the cheeky little terminal. And I'll just paste that, and we should get a whole load of pretty much nonsense back. Well, it's HTML, but I can't read any of that, so let's do that again. But this time, let's output that to a file called test.html. Ooh, look at that, that's nice. Clear that out, and we'll use Vim to open test.html. This is lovely, annoying, but I can search for everything. So what I can do is we can find the track name. So like I know that, for example, pick a song, that one, Aphex Twin's in there, right? So there we are, we found Aphex Twin. So we can see that the way these things are organized is using these data things. So data, Spotify ID, data track name, data URL. Now at this point, it's fairly easy to get all the data out, and we'll do that in a second. But there's one thing that's quite important here, and that's that it has this ID. We're going to be using the Spotify Add Items to Playlist API, and it's really useful to have that ID, and that's what Last.fm provides. There is a way of getting the IDs if you don't have the IDs. For example, if you have a list of, say, iTunes songs that you've got. And the way you could do that is using the track API or the search API in Spotify, which I can do a video on if you want me to, but because we've got it, we don't need to do that. But what we can start doing is messing about with this file to get everything we want. So let's have a goosey gander. So if I do something like cat, so cat is just going to open the file for us. So if I did that, it just opens a file, lovely jubbly. But what we can do, because it's Unix, we can pipe that. So that's a pipe symbol. We can pipe that to other commands, other things that we like. So I can do grep -i-e, and I can search for stuff using regular expressions. So I want to search for, what was it? The track name. So it's data-track name, but that should probably work. We can use the OR in regex. So again, that's that pipe symbol. To search for something else. So in the same thing, we can do artist name, like that. And if I was to come back now. Look at that. We get a load of stuff back. Now, the one thing to note here is we get a load of duplicates. So we've got to sort those out. But I also want that Spotify ID. So if I pipe that and do whatever it was, data Spotify URL, I think it was. We'll soon find out. Yeah, that works. Okay. And there's also something interesting I've just noticed as well, is that the duplicates happen. So you got You're Powered by Beanie Eyelash. That happens twice, but we've only got one URL for that. So we probably could use that to get rid of the duplicates. Because it's going to be a bit awkward to do it by calling the unique command in Unix. Because the unique command basically requires the data to be sorted. And then what it will do is, so if I was to call, unique on this, nothing's going to change, because it takes things that are next to each other, and if two things that are the same are next to each other, then it will get rid of them. So to get to actually get rid of the unique ones, we'd have to do sort, then unique, and that will get rid of them. So you can see that one song's there, it's not showed up twice. Sorted, so it should be showed up twice. If we were to get rid of that, if we just sort it and don't pipe to unique, we would see that we do have duplicates. We have quite a few duplicates. So that's one way of getting rid of them. But I'm getting sidetracked. So we've got the data we want here. So the next thing we need to do is start turning this into a CSV or something like that. Something we can use easily. So how do we do that? Well, this is the data as it is at the moment. So the first thing I would probably do here is replace the things that we know are there with commas. So if I was to do something like replace this with a comma, then that would be nice, because there's a comma straight away. The other thing we probably want to do is just move it all into one line. Just move it into one line straight away, and then when we know we've hit this, for example, we know we've got a new thing, because this is the first time you see this. So, and we can verify that this is right. So if I was to click on one of these, it should open that track. So that's Your Power. That seems out of the ordinary. That seems like a weird ordering. Anyway, we'll sort all that. Yes, whatever I was saying. So back to this. So what we can do is, if I now, so to get it into one line, easiest thing to do is to use this thing here, xargs, and now it's one big thing. Xargs is something you can use to basically take data in any sort of a load of lines of data, and you turn it into arguments for the next command. It's quite nice, but it also has this effect that we can turn it into this one big blob, which we can then perform further commands on. So from xargs, we can then use the sed command. So sed -e here, and we're going to use substitute. So if I was to substitute, in this case, artist name, so data space data artist name, and I want the equals as well. I want to substitute that for a comma, and do that globally. So that's /G. But do that, we now have substituted artist name for a comma. So you can see that you've got a song name and you've got an artist name. So all we need to do then is do the same thing again for the next one we want, and the next one we want is going to be the track name. So do literally the exact same thing again. Sed -e /space data track name, I think it is. It's track name. Yeah, it's track name, I think. I don't remember. We'll soon find. I could just look actually right in front of me. I can see it says data track name. There we go. And now that looks to be wrong, because I've missed out the equals. We want to get rid of the equals. Yeah, that looks a bit better now. So then what we've got is we then want to take this and then get rid of the Spotify URL stuff and make that nice as well. But this is getting a bit big, so let's move this whole thing to a script. I've already created 2 scripts. And just do that. It's called love.sure, and I'll do something like make this a function called to CSV. Okay. Whoopsie daisy. Okay, back after I just slightly lost my mind. Back again. Let's go and find all the lovely jubbly things like that. Get rid of this. I'll just make it all nice on one line. Okay, so we've got this. If we were to now just call to CSV from this file, run it, and we get everything we want. So we can now start messing about a little bit nicer with this. So we've now got the track name. We now need to get rid of that open Spotify nonsense. So that was substitute. Let me just come on a second. I'll copy and paste wherever it is. So I want to get rid of this whole thing here, I think. Should I get rid of all this? Yes, probably. Yeah, let's get rid of this whole thing here. Space, this whole thing. There we go. Sed, -e. Now, we're doing some replacements of a URL, which essentially is going to be annoying because it's got // in there. So what we need to do is we need to escape those. So we need to put a backslash before each one of them, because otherwise sed's going to be like, oh, that's a // you're replacing part of the string with the next part of the string, and then it'll fall over because it doesn't have anything to replace. So I want to do that, come back, and I want to replace that with what do I want to replace it with? New line. And then do that globally. Yep. See what that does. Ooh. What the hell is this? Unescape new line. HTTPS. Unescape new line. Track. Oh yeah, there we are. Perfect. So this has now got everything we're looking for. So if we were to take this ID, what I want to do is I want to find the song ID. So let's look at this. Oh, I'll tell you what we can do. We could do let's come out of this. We can do what I'm doing is I'm getting the open. So I want to get this, which is the URL to go to a track. So if I pick that there, cool, we'll go to a track. There's no track there, but that's fine. Go back to the go back here, run this again. Pick one. I'm going to pick this one. So that's that song. So we want to check that that is the same one. I've got it the right way around. Ooh, I've messed some up there. Oh, there we are. Let's have a gander. Awesome. So that's the right way round. So we've got everything we want there. Does this look okay at the moment? No, it doesn't look okay. Why doesn't it look okay? Because essentially we've got those duplicates. So you've got song name, artist name, song name, artist name again. That's nonsense. We don't want that. So how can we get rid of that? This is how we're going to get rid of the duplicates. Pretty simple, or at least the duplicate artist name and song name. We might still find that we've got duplicates elsewhere. We can do cut -d, give it a comma because the delimiter in this case is a comma. We're doing comma separated values. F 1-3 because we want columns 1 to 3. One day I will learn to type. Run that, bang. They've gone, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So now I've got basically the data I want. So what do I then want to do? Well, I want to output it to a file, and we could just call that 2. And what we'll do is we'll give this, we'll swap this test HTML file out for a variable. So now the contract of this function is essentially to be, what the hell just happened there? Interesting. To CSV is going to be input file, so test HTML in this case, test HTML, and then the output will be, let's say, tracks.csv. So if we were to run this now, we've run it, come back, ls, we've got a thing called tracks.html, CSV, and it's totally empty. Why is it totally empty? It's totally empty because almost certainly I've got the blooming thing the wrong way around. Maybe, I don't know. That was weird. That shouldn't have happened. I think I needed to do that. Yeah, okay, that's why that didn't work. Cheeky little backslash, open tracks again, boom, there you go. So that's working now. Come back to those. So the next thing we want to do then is actually get all the data in one go. So we can do this. Come back here, get this cheeky little curl, and we'll say we'll make a new little function. We'll just call it get. In here, copy this cheeky little curl like that, lovely jubbly. What I want to do is get rid of 1 here, and I'm going to replace it with a variable 1 like that. And so what this is now going to do is I'm going to call, say, get 1, and that will get me page 1. But what I want to do, because there's 27 pages, I want to go through and I want to get all of the pages. So we'll create a main function, and I'll call a for loop. And we'll do how do you do for loops in Bash again? There's about 18 different ways of doing them. Wonderful. So it's something like for, yeah, there's always 2 commas. It always confuses the hell out of me. We'll start with page 1 because that's what we're on. Then we want to do I is less than or equal to whatever input variable we get given. And then I plus equals, I think it's that way around for Bash. It is. Do, and let's just check I've got this completely right, because I've probably got this completely wrong. Echo I, done, and then let's just call main. We should see 28 characters. No, I've cocked something up. Wonderful. What have I cocked up? That is not right. Why is that not right? That should be right. Token is equals. What do you want about? That is the most nonsense thing I've ever seen in my life. Why is it moaning about that? Should there be a space there? No. Upon expression token. Error token is equals. Have I got that the wrong way around? Oh yeah. Ah, yes. Muppet. So if I do 28. There we go. I was being a muppet. That was what the error was there. An idiot was coding stuff. So what I can now do is, instead of doing that, we can call get, and we can pipe that to a temporary file. The end of temp file, we can delete the temp file, but I don't want to do that immediately because we want to check that this all works. But let's just say that works. Get main 28, and what I want to then do is call to CSV with the temp file and with the name of the output file. So in this case, we're going to get given the output file. So actually, I do want to do that now. We'll call main with S1. Whoopsie daisy. We'll call it with main S1 and 2. So if I was to call this now, what should happen? So I'll do something like love.share, give it 28 and call it tracks.csv. There we go. That's going to start running through everything right now. In the meantime, if you're having errors running these things, because that's going to take a few moments to run, what you might find is that what did we call this? You might find that if you can't run your shell scripts, that you need to add permissions. So one way to do that is just to do chmod plus x and then give it your name. And you can see if you've got this correct by looking at ls minus l. And you can see that we have these things here. And what we're looking for is that x there. And that tells me that this is that I have permissions to execute this file. So if you can't run it, that's why. Mild thing, but just killing some time while this runs. I'll probably have to pause this video, but it's finished. Excellente. Close that tmux thing. And we're back. If we look at tracks.csv, that does not look anywhere near long enough. That is not long enough. WC minus L? 35. That's not right. How have I balls that one up? Okay. I have definitely balls that one up. How is the question? Get I. So, that really doesn't seem right. Oh, I can see why I pulled it up. See there, that needs to be double. So what we need to do here is we need to keep appending stuff to the file as it goes on. So we'll run this. There's also a problem here in that I have also left in that first data URL. So if we look at tracks, that's not what I want. I want tracks. We can see that this is knocking about. We don't want this here, and this is just because I had the space in the other one. So if we go back, you see here we're replacing it with a space. I want to also get rid of the very first instance of it in the file. So do get rid of the new line, replace it with nothing. Okay, so now that's going to hopefully work. Let's run that again. It's going to go through, taking some time to actually go through and actually get everything working as we want it to. So in the meantime, let's open a new thing, come back, and we'll go to this one. So what we're going to need to do next, once this is ran, is we need to go to the Spotify add to playlist API. So if we go to Spotify, I'll put this link in the doobly-doo. There's a add items to a playlist URL. And what we need to do here is we need to give it the playlist ID. So the way you do that is the easiest way to go to the web player in Spotify, so via Chrome, and find the playlist ID, which in this case is this one. Add that playlist ID. You're going to then need to give it a track. So you can just give it a track to test this. And it needs to be Spotify : track, then the track ID. That's the thing we're getting at the moment. And then you need to get an authorization token. So get token, and you need to make sure you've got a playlist, modify. And I think that's everything we need. It's going to give us a token back, so you'll have to sign in if you haven't got one. What we can then do is it gives us a curl request that we've got for this specific track. So if I was to try it, it comes back here with snapshot ID, and that tells me that it's worked. We go to the playlist, it's added that song to the playlist. I'm going to quickly remove it. Remove from this playlist, so that playlist is now empty again. But what we've now got is this curl request. So let's get rid of this pane, and we'll go to the next script I wanted, which I've called add to playlist. And so for this one, I want to do something like add, call it a little method called add. We'll copy that curl request like that. Why is it doing that? That's weird. That's what I wanted. And we'll do 3 at H. If you wondered how I just did that, that was with a Vim macro. I counted wrong. So what we need to do here is we need to add a variable to this bit. Aha. That's probably why that didn't work. We'll come out of here. That makes a lot of sense why that did something weird. That's going to work. Now we need to replace the track ID, which comes after %3a. So it's this thing here. We need to replace this with, in this case, S1. So we're going to pass the track ID to this thing, and then we'll make a main function. And in this main function, we need to read from a file that we're given. So in this case, we'll say main tracks.csv, and we need to do while read line do. In this case, let's do echo line done, and we need to pipe the input that way, I think, to S1 in this case. What I need to do here is, before we do anything, I'm going to quickly make a backup of tracks because I don't want to have to redo everything again. So make it tracks backup in case I balls this up. Yeah, we've got a backup there now. So let's think, have I balls this up? Seems about right. So we'll call in main with tracks, and we're not calling the add yet. We'll just run this. Okay, so that runs through the file perfectly, but what I need to do is I need to get the track ID. Now, how do we do that? There's one thing I want to check first, actually, before we do this. Let's check if there's any duplicates in the tracks. So how do we check if there's duplicates? Well, we could have done this in the previous script, but now we've got the data. What we can do is we can mess about with Vim. So at the moment there are 1,096 tracks in here. I suspect there are duplicates. So we can look at this. Come to the top of the file, capital V, capital G to go to the bottom. And now if we type in sort, it will sort everything by the first thing it finds, which in this case is the ID. And I can see there's loads of duplicates there. So what I want to do now is the same thing we just did. That shouldn't be there. What I want to do here is go capital V, capital G, and open the command pane here and type in unique. And what now happens is, if we go to tracks again, so I didn't mean to close it out, we should find we have fewer tracks, and we've just got rid of all the duplicates and sorted everything. So that's one way you can get rid of duplicates, and that's just using Vim and Unix stuff. I don't want that one. I want the add to playlist.share. Okay, so what we're ready to do now then is we can get the data out of here. So how do we get the data out of here? Well, the way we do that is by doing something like cut -d, give it the comma for the delimiter, and say I want F1 for the first column. And wowzers trousers, there we go. That seems about right. Okay, data track name loaded labyrinth. I'm going to very quickly edit that file because for some reason there's an error, and we've got that one at the bottom. I don't care too much about that. So let's look at this. Add to playlist. We're back. So what we need to then do is pass this to the add method. So we can do this by swapping that for add, but we need to stick this in a subshell so it gets passed as one variable as opposed to two. That looks about right. Yep. So let us now run this. So I'm going to run this. Let's just check everything's right. So nothing in the playlist. If we look at Spotify itself, the actual app, there's nothing in there either. So run it. Oh, I've cocked something up. So command not found. Add to playlist. Sure. Okay, so we haven't got the... Something's gone wrong there. Do this. Let's have a gander. Oh, I tell you why. I know what's happened. We need to do echo line. There you go. Okay, so that's now working again. So if I now call get, command not found. Oh, that's interesting. How on earth can command not be found? Line 14, command not found. Aha! I'm a muppet. There we go. Add. Snapshot ID. There we go. That looks like it's working. If we go to Spotify, we can see that it's adding tracks, and it just keeps adding them and adding them and adding them and adding them and adding them. And that's about it. So this was a weird video. It was just me sort of rambling, solving a little problem I had. Maybe you found this interesting. Maybe you didn't find this interesting. Maybe this was a terrible waste of everyone's time. Que sera, sera. Arrivederci.